I'm 70 years old, and if you're somewhere around 55 or 60, I want to talk to you directly. Not as a financial planner, not as a retirement expert, but as someone who has walked a few more miles down the road you're heading toward. You see, there are things I wish someone had told me when I was your age. Not warnings, not lectures, just quiet truths about time, health, relationships, and purpose. This is not a video about how to save money or how to downsize your home. This is about how to live fully, deeply, intentionally before life quietly moves past you. Because the truth is, your 50s and 60s are not just the beginning of retirement planning. They are the last great window of freedom, energy, and possibility. So, if you're willing to listen, I'd like to share 10 honest lessons I've learned, things I wish I had known when I was 55. You don't have to agree with all of them. Just take what speaks to your heart. Let's begin. 1. The sweet spot. Don't wait too long. There's a season of life that hardly anyone talks about, but it might be the most precious one you'll ever have. It's not your 20s, not your 30s. It's the quiet, golden stretch between your late 50s and mid-60s. I call it the sweet spot. This is the time when three powerful forces come together: time, money, and health. You may not be in peak shape anymore, but chances are you still feel strong. You've worked hard, and your savings are beginning to take shape. And finally, the pressure starts to ease. The kids are grown. Deadlines soften. Your calendar feels a little lighter. But here's the catch. Most people never realize they're in the sweet spot until it's gone. At 70, I see this clearly. I've talked to so many people my age who regret putting off the things they wanted to do. That big trip, that hobby, that dream. They waited too long and now their back aches or their stamina isn't the same. The body puts up barriers the mind doesn't always expect. You might be in that rare chapter right now where life is giving you permission to live boldly. Take it. What's something you've been putting off? A place you've dreamed of seeing? A skill you've always wanted to learn? Don't wait for the perfect time. It's already here, and if you don't use it, it quietly slips away. Studies even show that life satisfaction tends to peak between ages 59 and 65, right in that sweet spot. So don't waste this window. This is your time to build memories that don't just sit in a scrapbook, but live in your heart forever. 2. Time is the real currency. We're taught to measure money, to track our savings, to celebrate promotions, but no one teaches us to measure what's even more valuable: our time. You can always make more money, but time, you only get a set amount. Most of us don't realize we're spending it poorly until we're looking back, wondering where it all went. Think about this. The average American spends nearly 9 years of their life watching television, not because they're lazy, but because they're drained or bored or unsure what else to do. So here's a challenge. What if you started treating your afternoons like investments? Instead of watching time go by, you could put it toward things that bring you joy, energy, and meaning. I once met a retired teacher who used to clean her own home top to bottom every Saturday. It exhausted her. One day she decided to hire help and use that time to take watercolor classes at the community center. She told me, "I bought back my Saturday and found myself again." That's the key. Don't just protect your money, protect your hours. Even small changes help. Skip a draining task. Say no to a meeting. Take a quiet walk instead of running errands. Little by little, you get your life back. Studies even show that people who value time over money tend to report greater happiness, lower stress, and better health. It's not about being selfish, it's about being intentional. So ask yourself, what's one thing this week that's costing you time, but not giving you life? Then make a change. Your future self will thank you. 3. Learn to say no and feel good about it. When we're younger, saying yes opens doors. It helps us build careers, relationships, and experiences. But at some point, usually in our 50s or 60s, that same habit starts to backfire. You begin to say yes out of guilt or habit, or because you don't want to disappoint others. Over time, your calendar fills up with commitments that leave you behind. At 70, here's what I've learned. Saying no is not rejection, it's protection. You're protecting your peace, your health, your time. And yes, it's okay to do that. I worked with a woman in her early 60s. She was offered a big job title with a higher salary, but also longer hours, more travel, and no room for flexibility. After much thought, she said no, and that one no gave her the freedom to relocate, be closer to her grandkids, and pursue a creative passion she'd buried for decades. Saying no doesn't mean you're closing doors. Sometimes it means you're opening the right ones. Research shows that people who prioritize their own values and boundaries report lower stress and higher satisfaction in later life. Saying yes to everything doesn't make you generous. It makes you exhausted. Here's a simple tip. Before you agree to anything, ask yourself, will this bring me energy or take it away? If it drains you, gently say no. Not out of anger, but out of love for your own well-being. Because this season of life isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about finally showing up for yourself. 4. Make time for joy on purpose. Somewhere along the way, many of us stopped doing the things that made us smile for no reason. We traded wonder for routine, curiosity for responsibility, joy for practicality. Slowly, without even realizing it, we forgot how to have fun. But joy isn't childish. It isn't a luxury. It's fuel for the soul, especially as we age. One man I knew retired at 62 and admitted he didn't know what to do with his free time. He'd worked hard his whole life, raised a family, built a retirement fund. But once the structure was gone, so was his sense of purpose. He felt lost and disconnected. Then one day he dusted off his old harmonica, something he hadn't played since high school. He played for 15 minutes, then 30, then an hour. He ended up joining a local music circle. Today, he plays every Friday at the senior center. He told me, "This little instrument saved me from becoming invisible." That's what joy can do, but joy doesn't happen by accident. You have to make room for it. You have to treat it like it matters, because it does. What did you love doing when you were young? Painting, roller skating, building things in the garage, dancing in the kitchen. Whatever it was, I promise you, it's still in there. It hasn't disappeared. It's just waiting for an invitation to come back. Neurological studies show that engaging in playful, joyful activities, even just once or twice a week, can help reduce depression, sharpen memory, and increase emotional resilience in older adults. So go ahead, bake for no reason. Take that dance class, laugh loudly at silly movies. Let your grandkids see that life after 60 isn't grey and quiet, but colourful, vibrant, and full of unexpected delight. Because joy doesn't age, and neither should your spirit. 5. Invest in your health while you still can. If you're in your late 50s or 60s, let me say this as gently and honestly as I can. Your body is talking to you. Are you listening? For years I ignored the signals. I thought I'm fine. Or it's just part of getting older. But what I didn't realize is that small neglect in your 60s becomes big limitation in your 70s. It's not about being perfect. It's about being proactive. A friend of mine, Carl, was 60 when he started walking 3 miles every morning. Nothing extreme, just a simple habit. 10 years later, he's 70 and still traveling, still biking, still chasing his grandkids around the park. He always says, "The walks I did at 60 are why I'm not in a walker today." That stuck with me. The truth is, we spend years saving money for retirement, but forget to save our health. No matter how much you've got in your retirement account, it means little if your joints hurt too much to enjoy life. Start small. Take walks after dinner. Add some strength training with light weights. Eat a little cleaner. Prioritize sleep. Get your checkups. Even just tracking your steps or drinking more water can create a ripple effect. And don't forget mental health. Loneliness, grief, and change can creep in as we get older. It's not weakness, it's part of the journey. But don't face it alone. Talk to someone. Join a group. Reach out. New studies show that consistent, moderate exercise can add up to 7 healthy years to your life. Not just more years, but better years. Think of it as compound interest, but for your body. You don't have to do everything overnight, but you do need to start. Your future self is already hoping you will. 6. Protect your mind, not just your body. When people talk about aging, they usually focus on physical health, blood pressure, cholesterol, weight, mobility. But there's another part we often overlook, the mind. Your mental and emotional health is just as important, maybe even more, because a strong mind carries you through moments your body can't. Grief, stress, anxiety, and transitions all take a toll. Retirement isn't just a change in schedule, it's a change in identity. Moving to a new city, losing a spouse, or watching your kids move far away. These moments can shake your inner world. But here's the good news. You can build resilience at any age. Your brain is still capable of growing, connecting, and healing. I knew a widow who moved to a small town after her husband passed. She was heartbroken, but she started going to a weekly gratitude circle at the community center. At first, she barely spoke. By the 4th meeting, she was laughing again. By the 6th, she was leading the circle. She told me, "I didn't need a therapist. I needed people who understood. So let me ask you, when was the last time you did something that challenged your mind but filled your heart? Learned a new skill, took a class at the local college, read something that changed how you see the world? Your brain wants to be used. It craves stimulation, connection, and inspiration. Without that, it slowly starts to retreat. Research shows that older adults who stay mentally and emotionally engaged are significantly less likely to experience cognitive decline. The brain, like a muscle, responds to exercise. So feed your mind. Practice gratitude. Join a group. Talk to positive people. Let go of negativity. It's not worth the rent space in your head. Your mind is your lifelong companion. Take care of it, and it will take care of you. 7. What you give comes back tenfold. When I was younger, I used to believe that giving was something you did when you had extra. Extra money, extra time, extra energy. But now, in my 70s, I realize that giving isn't what you do when you have enough. It's how you begin to feel like you are enough. Giving doesn't just change other people's lives. It changes yours in ways that no amount of money, travel, or retirement luxury ever could. I know this firsthand. Every Tuesday afternoon I volunteer at a local pinball museum. Strange, I know, but I grew up loving those machines, the buzz, the lights, the clinks of the ball hitting the bumpers. When I retired, I walked into that museum out of curiosity. I ended up staying because I found connection. I teach kids how to play. I share stories with veterans. I clean the glass and fix machines. But more than anything, I feel like I matter again. And I hear this from so many others. A retired accountant who now tutors kids in math, a former nurse who volunteers at a food pantry, a grandmother who reads at the library every Friday. They're not doing it for recognition. They're doing it because it brings their days meaning and their hearts peace. There's a misconception that giving has to be big, that you need to start a charity or donate thousands. But honestly, the most powerful acts of giving are often small and consistent. Listening to someone who feels invisible, sharing your story so someone else feels less alone, mentoring someone just starting out, being present when others are too busy. There's even science behind this. Studies show that people who volunteer regularly after retirement experience lower rates of depression, improved physical health, and stronger cognitive functioning. Giving literally helps you live longer and happier. And here's the best part. You already have everything you need to give something valuable. Your wisdom, your perspective, your experience, your presence. You've lived through so much. Don't let that go to waste. Share it, pass it on. Someone, somewhere is looking for the exact piece of insight that only you can offer. The truth is, your legacy isn't what you leave behind when you die. It's what you give while you're still here. 8. Track your spending, but budget for joy. When people hear the word budget, they often think of restriction, cutting back, tightening up, going without. But what if I told you that a good budget isn't about limiting joy? It's about making room for it. In your 50s and 60s, retirement starts to feel real. You might be downsizing, paying off a mortgage, or finally seeing your savings grow. But this is also the time when spending can quietly spiral. You travel more, dine out more, spoil the grandkids, or buy things you once postponed. And before you know it, you're dipping into your future for short-term pleasure without even realizing it. One woman I knew loved trying new restaurants in her new hometown. She thought she was being reasonable, but when we sat down and looked at her monthly numbers, we found that nearly 20% of her retirement income was going toward dining out. That's not wrong, but it was unintentional. The issue isn't the spending, it's the unawareness. When you track where your money actually goes, you gain something powerful: freedom of choice. You can decide what matters most. You might cut back on restaurants and use that money for day trips, art supplies, music lessons, or travel with friends. Whatever brings real joy, not just momentary pleasure. And here's something few people consider. Retirement is not one long phase. It happens in 3 stages. The go-go years, full of travel, activity, and exploration. The slow-go years, quieter routines, lower energy. The no-go years, limited mobility, more medical needs. Spending usually spikes in stage 1, but if you're not careful, you risk struggling later. That's why it's wise to plan your spending like a wave. Enjoy the crest, but prepare for the calm. Also consider relocation costs. Moving across states isn't just about cheaper taxes, it can cost thousands just to move your belongings. Many retirees now prefer selling most of their things and starting fresh in a simpler space, less clutter, lower maintenance, more freedom. Budgeting is not punishment, it's permission to live better, not just longer. So go ahead, track your spending, then use that clarity to fund what makes you come alive. Because money is a tool, not a trophy. 9. Downsize smart, while life still feels big. One of the most common regrets I hear from people in their 70s and 80s is this: we waited too long to move, not because they didn't want to, but because they couldn't anymore. Health changed, a partner passed, the energy to pack, clean, and relocate just wasn't there, and so they stayed in homes that became too big, too quiet, or too difficult to manage. Let me be honest with you, the time to move is not when you have to. It's when you still want to. Think of downsizing not as giving up space, but as making space for what truly matters. Less lawn, more leisure. Fewer rooms, more freedom. Fewer stairs, more peace of mind. I met a couple who moved from Florida to South Carolina. They traded hurricanes and high insurance premiums for a single-story home near walking trails and a top-rated hospital. They said, "We feel younger here, not older." That's the power of the right move. Here are things most people forget to ask when considering relocation. Is healthcare nearby and easy to access? Is the community friendly, walkable, and safe? Are there ways to connect? Clubs, volunteer groups, events. Are you downsizing the house but upsizing your life? And here's something smart. Instead of visiting for a weekend, try staying in that town for a full month. Rent a short-term place. Go to the grocery store. Attend community events. Walk the neighborhood. Feel it, not just see it. Your home should fit the person you are now, not the version of you from 20 years ago. And if your current home no longer fits your life, that's not failure, it's growth. You're not moving away from a house, you're moving toward a future that feels lighter, freer, and fuller. 10. Don't just retire from something, retire to something. Most people think of retirement as a finish line, a goal, an end to work, pressure, and obligation. But the most fulfilled people I've met in their 70s and beyond, those who wake up each day with purpose, didn't just retire from something, they retired to something. Let that sink in because it changes everything. Retiring from a job can feel like freedom at first. No more alarms, no more meetings, no more deadlines. But after a few months, many retirees wake up one day and feel lost, not busy, not needed, not seen. They ask themselves, who am I now without that job, that title, that role? The truth is, work gave many of us a built-in identity, a reason to get up, a rhythm to our days. And when that disappears, it creates a quiet emptiness that no cruise or home project can truly fill. But here's the good news. Retirement isn't the end. It's a reset, a blank page. And if you choose it with intention, it can be the most meaningful chapter of your life. One man I knew, a former history teacher, moved to a quiet town after retiring. He thought he'd spend his days fishing and relaxing, but after a few months he felt restless. He missed connection. He missed sharing what he loved. So he offered to teach one free history class a week at the local community center. At first, only 4 people came. By the 3rd month, there were over 20. And the smile on his face was bigger than any paycheck ever gave him. He told me, "I didn't retire to slow down. I retired to finally do what I love without red tape." That's the key. Retire to something. A part-time role that excites you, not exhausts you. A cause that stirs your heart. A hobby you always said you'd pick back up someday. A new town, a garden, a gallery, a podcast. A new identity, not defined by a paycheck, but by passion. And if you don't know what that something is yet, that's okay. Exploration is part of the process. You might try 3 things and only one sticks, but when it does, you'll know. Because it won't feel like you're passing time. It'll feel like you're finally using it. Studies show that retirees who engage in purpose-driven activities report significantly higher life satisfaction and even better cognitive health over time. And no, your purpose doesn't have to be grand or public. It can be simple, quiet, personal. Mentoring a young neighbor, hosting Sunday dinners, creating something with your hands, writing letters to loved ones, organizing old family photos into albums with stories written by you. You've spent decades giving your energy to work, to family, to obligation. Now is the time to give your energy to meaning. So instead of asking, what am I retiring from, ask yourself, what am I retiring to? This isn't the end of your story. It's the part where the plot changes and you finally get to be the author. If you're in your 50s or 60s, I hope this has been more than just advice. I hope it felt like a quiet conversation with your future self, one that says, it's not too late, but it won't always be early either. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start choosing life on purpose. Whether it's protecting your time, rekindling joy, or downsizing for freedom, every small decision becomes a brick in the foundation of your next chapter. So take the trip. Make the call. Learn the thing. Say the no. Say the yes. Share your wisdom. Give back. And above all, live like your best years are not behind you, because they're not. They're waiting right in front of you. Thanks for walking this part of the road with me. I'm 70, and I'm still becoming. So are you.